Okay, we're live again. Alrighty, can you hear me? I see some people hitting back in. I don't know what happened there, folks. Okay, I don't know what happened. I see 4 people in the chat that's on the viewer list. Thank you, man. I don't know what in the world happened there to lock me out like that, but the picture's better too. Okay, um, I hear you. All righty. I don't know what happened. I've been having some good. I've been having some trouble with when I plug up this other. Thank you, Shalom. When I plug up this other monitor, I can't hear when I play something if the audio is coming out or not. So I'm gonna try that one more time. Let me know. Let me know if you can hear when it plays. Um, so we're gonna try this one more time. Okay. No sound on the video. I wonder why. Hold on. I wonder if it muted. Let's see here. Okay. So I'm gonna have to learn why that is, because that's not good when I share screen. So so not sure why that's happening, but we'll get that figured out. I see Billy's done went over on the YouTube. Appreciate that. Appreciate that. Don't know why that's happening when I do that. So I don't know if I gotta use an external speaker or what I need to do. I have no idea. So it's gotta be a way to figure that out, and I will research that, because it's so much nicer to when you're sharing screens to use 2 screens. So we'll have to figure that out. Alrighty, I appreciate everybody that's come back on. I hate that I lost Fraser there, but Fraser McGuire is I'll have to get this right. He's the principal of either Mountain View High School or Riverview or Riverside. No, Riverview, because Riverside's old DuPont and East Bank. And I think that's correct. I could be wrong, but I think that's correct. Real good guy. Loves to fish. We used to go fishing in the summertime all the time. When he was in college. So it's pretty cool that he came on. Love getting first time viewers. So I mean, I got another one I can share that I was going to show you if you had some late needing one more nice little outdoorsy item to give someone for Christmas. Um, Let's go bring this up here. This don't have to have any audio. Let's see if this works. All right, check that out. Let's go scroll up here to the top. You know, if you're there's me. If there's I want to tell you this item right here. Everybody should own one of these. This is called the Ice Cap Baklava. I think that's how you pronounce it. And I've had many of these that kept my head warm. But what I noticed with this one, uh, I didn't sweat in it and I stayed warm. It was moisture wicking. It is just awesome. So, on Amazon, go under Extremis, and this thing will come up, and it's just an awesome item. Or maybe y'all that ordered all them tumblers from me think, well, you know what? I think I know somebody might want one of those. Man, everybody loves these tumblers from Extremis. How about a Swimbait? It's called an Epic Pud from Stillwater Bait Company. This guy goes out in his basement and he makes these baits, and everybody loves them. That's a super cool color right there. Awesome. How about one of these triple willow blade spinner baits? This is handcrafted by Jack Collins and Jack Custom Jigs. These baits are awesome. Let me move this to my other screen here so I can see my board. And that picture of me in the creek was good fishing. Let me tell you, that picture right there, I'm gonna submit that to well, there's Maria. Welcome home. But this spinnerbait right here, man, in deep water, slow rolling, or when them shad are spawning or schooling and they're being chased by any type of bass, you sling this thing through, especially that color right there, you're gonna hammer them. You're gonna hammer them. That's probably a 1 ounce, half ounce to a 1 ounce spinnerbait. So you're gonna have to have some something to really throw that with. Right here's another vibrating jig made by Jack Collins. This is that old fire crawl. There you go, straight out of Ohio. There's that fire crawl. Mind you of a jackhammer or a thunder cricket. I got a couple of these from him. I think I know I got at least one. No, I got one vibrating jig and a swim jig from him. And if y'all want some solid baits that will last you, handcrafted, man, let me know. We'll get you hooked up with them. He don't charge like some folks do for these things, and he sits down and makes them himself. His wife does the painting on them. I mean, from what I understand, it's a pretty cool deal. Or how about a subscription to Monster Bass? Monthly subscription that has baits selected for your region. It has a pro for 4 different regions in the country. They have a different pro that is from your general area. And this guy mainly is in southern Pennsylvania, Maryland, Chesapeake Bay area, but the streams they fish, like smallmouth especially, very similar to our rivers down here. So he helps hand select baits. This particular box was the Strike King Takeover box. That was my favorite box, but had some awesome baits in there. Had some KDV 1.5, some 2.5s in there, and it was an awesome box. I know someone that just got one of these subscriptions for Christmas. Yay. But and then why that ain't scrolling now. There we go. Or how about the OG reel of Cast King, the Cast King Sharky 3? Hands down, this is in more hands of Cast King fishermen and or owned by casting fishermen. Any other reel that casting sells, and there's a reason for it. I have two of them. I love them. I got John the I got John the bait feeder one for catfishing, the 500 series. I mean, these reels are outstanding. It's just some last minute outdoor um, items that that's still out there on Amazon that may get here in time. Because I went down by UPS the other night to get a package because I couldn't get up my hill due to snow at 8:30 something to 9, and that place was booming. I mean, I got my package and got out there because stuff was flying around, throwing up on trucks. Unreal. So these guys, man, when you order stuff, when these guys drop you your packages off and you're home, thank them for all they're doing because they're out 9:30, 10 at night delivering stuff, and then they're back in the shop loading trucks up for the next morning and getting home at 11, 12 at night, and they're at 4 in the morning. So don't ever take the UPS guys for granted because, man, they are working their tail ends off. I hear you guys squabbling about what language you're speaking in the chat room. But yeah, man, when you see that UPS guy, thank them. Tell them Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. I mean, they're working their hands in off, and I seen it firsthand. But yeah, I was hoping that Lunker text video would play with some sound. If anybody has any idea, when I hook up the HDMI cable from my laptop to this other monitor, why it shuts off the audio, please let me know. I'd love to know why that's happening because it makes it tough on some of the things I want to do in my live streams. But back to Lunker Text, I mean, they got some ridiculous deals. Let me show you if I can pull it up. Let me show you one that they brought out this week. It just blew my mind. And I know there's people in here who like to throw some spinner baits. Let me see if I can pull this up. I'm not sure where it might have went to, but man, it was an awesome deal. Let's see. Not sure what. Let's see if it went here. Well, I don't know where it went. I knew let's hit downloads here. Let's see. Well, anyway, it was a 3-pack of War Eagle double willow blade spinner baits called the Screaming Eagles. And if anybody has much knowledge of spinner baits, War Eagle is one of the top brands out there. And they had 3 of them. He has that extended skirt to where you can probably go without using a trailer on your spinnerbait, and they don't blow out of the water when you scream them through the water because they're nice. And they had them retail value for 3 of them was regular like $24, and they had them for $12. So Lunker Text is an awesome deal. You'll get text daily or every other day with deals. I mean, this one right here from the Rick Clun series, Square Bills. Guys, Rick Clun, man, he's one of the deans of bass fishing who got the world turned on the square bill bait fishing, and he's won thousands upon thousands of dollars. And I'll tell you a little secret. This color right here, this copper perch, man, I was getting nailed left and right. up on Tuckahoe Lake with this. And it's just me never using crankbaits much, trying to hook them and losing them. So once I learned that deal, it's gonna be an awesome deal. Look at that. I mean, 6 of them normally $41. So that's about $7 a crankbait, give or take, for 23.33. And made by Lucky Strike. He used to be with Lucky Craft, and it's the same square bill. And now they're cheaper to get too because they're with Lucky Strike. And I'm not sure why he left Lucky Craft. Had to be a reason, but that just some of the deals that will come into your text message. And all you got to do is reply how many of the bundles you want. And there's no requirements to buy anything. It don't cost you nothing. Not a thing unless you order something. And all you got to do is reply in the reply box how many you want. 1, 2, 3, 5, 100. I don't know. But it's just a cool deal. It's a very cool deal. Yeah, I've been organizing tackle this week. Man, I got tackle laying everywhere. But I'm gonna need more tackle trays. Probably something I probably should have asked for Christmas. Some 3,700 tackle tray. I like to have some of those Bass Mafia boxes that are about this thick, and you can throw crankbaits like crazy in there. And I'll show you an example of if I can find what I'm looking for. Hold on just a second. Right here. This is my square bill box. Y'all can see that. I mean, I can't get another one in there whatsoever. And I got to figure out how to get this. If I can get it off this cord here. Here's that Rick Clunk crankbait I was telling you about. That copper. Man, this thing was, they were just nailing that. And then in the spring, this pink crawl, or later toward the post, when they're starting to, let me get a hold of this. When they're starting to molt, man, this thing right here is going to be killer in the rocks. But that's, and I got other crankbait boxes. As a matter of fact, I gave away some crankbaits for Christmas. So, and they're good crankbaits because I really don't have anything here that I wouldn't fish with. I might fish some more than others, but that's just the way it is. So, but yeah, it's easy to get going on these baits, and soon you start to pile up. But I can promise you, I am nowhere near the amount of baits that a lot of other folks got. Let me check my comments here. You got some Berkeley Gulp baits as an early gift yesterday. Awesome, awesome. So, well, that was cool. Which type of Berkeley Gulp baits did you get? Was it for the trout? Was it for bass fishing? Were they in a bag? Were they in a jar? Berkeley Gulp's good stuff. I'm just bad at forgetting to seal the bag back up, and then they shrink down to nothing. Sheila. Okay. But yeah, these love the baits though. Love to talk about baits. Anytime if you got a bait in your possession and You have no idea what it's for, how you use it, how you tie it on properly, what line and rod to use. Um, just ask, and if I can't answer it, I'm sure someone here in the chat room can answer it. And 5-inch shaky head worms. Those are going to be good. Those will be good. I'll show you what I got for shaky head. Because I got the the Berkeley Power Max Scent shaky head. This happens to be called the with the glasses on. This is the plum apple. I think these are going to do really good. It is a 7-inch worm, and I think it'll do really good down in some of your deeper holes near some rock piles, stuff like that. But here's what I like about shaky head fishing. I don't tend to lose them. Yeah, I did say hi to Mia. I did say hi to her. Told her welcome back. I don't lose as many of the shaky heads as I do them daggone Ned heads. And that's why I don't Ned head. That's why I don't use them much anymore. I mean, there's other fish and stuff I'd rather buy than me buying those those Ned heads, 3 or 4 packs a week. I mean, I used to have a whole box full of them things, and fishing with Billy and some other folks and stuff, and they come to me and say, I broke off 3 or 4 times a day, and they're looking for another one because that's what's catching the fish. So they start to deplete really, really quick, and paying $4 and something for a bag of 4 or 5, if that's what's in there, that can add up big time. And so what I've been doing, I've been taking that TRD worm and I've been putting it on a drop shot rig. I've only done that in the creek, and but it caught fish. I mean, it was sitting there and just sitting still, just wiggling like it on its own, like it did on off the bottom, like it's sitting there looking at something. It worked pretty good, and so that's what I've been doing when it comes to Ned baits. Is I've been putting them on a drop shot. Other than that, and the only other thing is that I noticed with the Ned rig fishing is that they tend to swallow that hook a whole lot easier, and trying to keep the fish kills down is a little bit tough sometimes. So, but it's a very effective way, and pro fishermen still use Ned rigs. During bass tournaments, a lot of times they'll use them to try to get their limit, and then start calling CULL fish the rest of the day to try to get larger ones and switch them out. Now, you may not see Ned rig fishing in Major League Fishing because they count every fish you catch. That depend on the tournament, depend on the where they go. Some of the tournaments is a 1 pound limit, some's a 2 pound limit. Usually in them bigger tournaments with the bigger money, it's got a 2 pound limit. So, but every fish they catch at 2 pounds counts. And they can catch 40 fish in a day and have 80 pounds. They get on a good bite. Now, Ned rig, typically, unless there's just huge fish there. Now, if you're fishing in Wisconsin lakes and up Michigan and places like that where full of smallmouth, I won't say bluestone, full of smallmouth, the Ned rigs will be pretty cool. Now, if we had pea gravel bottoms in all our waters here, I'd throw a Ned rig all day long. I'd be trying so many different things with it, but breaking them off, it's just I got tired of doing it. But I don't lose the shaky heads as near as much as I do the Ned rigs, and there's a lot in selection of baits you can use with that. You can get a shaky head that weighs half ounce or more, and you can throw some of that with a big old 5-6 odd hook on it, and you can take some of those big old Berkeley or Bass Pro Shop Sticko worms, or some of them big giant Cinco style worms, or these 14-inch worms, and put them on there and throw them way down in the deep hole, and just barely move them, just like you do Ned rig, and do some good with that. I watched the guy on Gunnersville Lake just slaying some monsters using a setup like that, and that's what I'm going to do. But yeah, but anytime you got questions about a baits, you want you say you got a bait I don't have, and I got a bait you don't have, and you want to try it, we can do some swapping. I don't care, and see how that works. Tell me, guys, in the chat room, tell me what type of fishing that you have the baits, but you have no confidence in the fishing. And it's a bait that you watch other people catch them all the time with, but you just no good at it. So start letting me know what baits that is that you see other people fish with, but when you use them, you just can't catch diddly. And I got a few that I can't catch fish at all on hardly, and I don't understand it, because I watch video after video after video, and it just don't work. It don't work. Don't work at all. I mean, it's just sad. So mine will be your normal 4 to 8 foot mid diving, or even deeper than that. Anywhere, any bait that I gotta go with that's not done with a Texas rig, whopper plopper, never catch one on it. You know what? I haven't either, and I own a whopper plopper, but I sit and watch the guy in this chat room right now sit there and catch 4 or 5 of them with the whopper plopper, but I'll sling it and not get a bite. What's up, David Hicks? How you doing, buddy? Glad you're on. Appreciate you visiting us here tonight. Now there's baits that I have right now that when I was in Eastern Virginia, other side of Richmond, Mechanicsville area in King William County toward Tappahannock, I'd fish small lakes and ponds, stuff down there with certain baits, and I would slay the bass with it. Of course, I came back to West Virginia with boxes full of that stuff, and it don't work. I know you did, Billy Max. I watched you catch him on the whopper plopper. We picked them whopper ploppers up at the same time, or I ordered them or something. I can't remember. And he had the bone color one, if I'm correct. And they hit that one, but they wouldn't hit my black one. So that's probably more toward the evening dust time for that color. But I watched Bill Max catch them and get several more hits on them. So, and it's pretty exciting because it's topwater. Anybody else? But I'm not real good with super deep water. That's something I want to explore this year with the drop shot Carolina rig. I'm gonna do a whole lot more. I'm gonna do a whole lot more fluke style fishing, and that Zoom fluke is deadly for $2.99 a pack or wherever it is it costs. Man, those are deadly baits. So many different ways to fish in them. Now, 6th Sense has come out with one called the Flush. I think it's almost 5 inches long, but it looks like a fluke, except for it's got fins on it and it's got a hook tail. And I watched 2 guys the other night on a live show that was Kevin Baitman Baxter and Captain Ronnie Kelly doing rigging up baits. And they showed so many ways to rig that up, got me so excited. It's called the Flush because the way they're made, instead of falling nose down, they just fall flush straight to the bottom. So check those out on the 6th Sense website called the Flush. And they look just like, kind of like the Zoom fluke, except for bigger. I've seen now they got the mag fluke, maybe that size, Zoom does. But he was putting it on a underspin. If I don't know if I got an underspin close enough for me to get to, but I got a couple of underspin. They were screwing it up on an underspin. Then he bite the tail off, and he had these little willow blades where you can screw into your plastic bait and put one in on the tail. And this Captain Ron Kelly is a guide fisherman down in Texas, Lake Fork and some of them places. And I know that's different kinds of water than we got here. But he said it just smacked them with that, using those big fluke style baits like that. Or they was putting them on a hook weedless, but then taking a nail weight and sticking it right above the eye and the nose and pushing it in there to give that, when it hits the bottom, it gives that pecking on the bottom like you see fish do in an aquarium feeding. Think about that in your mind and what that might look like to a bass, especially during the spawn. If they're in a nest and you throw one in down there pecking like that, can you imagine how that thing's gonna get tore up? So that got me pretty excited. Just different ways to fish those things. So I mean, I ain't got to sit there and try to figure out how to tie a chicken rig. They were talking about the old style way of just taking a split shot up the line a little bit and putting the fluke on. When you jerk it, it goes all over the place. And of course they was talking about the donkey rig, where you got 2 of them on at one time. So there's just so many different ways to fish a fluke, and I'm definitely gonna stock up on them this year. Might get some of them flush. I'd love to try those flush on some big smallmouth in the New River or down Bluestone, because I think they'll eat them up. Them flukes are a deadly bait. It sure is. I've been using them. I remember Strike King had a deal with Z-Man on that last tack and put out some fluke style baits. I don't know if y'all remember those or not, but it was a fluke come out and you could stretch it a country mile. And that was my first experience with last tack. And I didn't realize that Strike King and Z-Man had that had such a relationship, because they got permission from Z-Man to make her Thunder Cricket. And not a whole lot of difference, except for that vibrating thing on the front. That blade is carved a little different. So, but those flukes, we were out on the Chickahominy River system, out on their lake, and the gar was just everywhere. And these things looked huge in the water, and they were chasing stuff. And I was I decided to throw that fluke out there weightless to be on top of water, and I was skipping it right by them, and they were snapping at it like alligators. And I remember one of them got a hold of one of them last tech flukes, in its teeth, and when it pulled back, that thing must have stretched a country mile for it finally snapped. So that was a cool experience. But yeah, but the fluke. Think about the fluke this year. I don't think it'll be a fluke. Pardon the pun. Um, Crankbaits. I have no confidence in throwing them things, but I got enough of them. I got some that'll dive at 26 feet. I don't think I got enough arm strength to get them down that deep. But I do got some ones that the collar's just right. If I've been listening to pros talk and a lot of different anglers that love to throw crankbaits, that right after the spawn, I don't know if wait a minute. I got one here that right here. This is, if it'll focus, this is the Strike King. I know that looks almost like orange on the bottom, but it's actually chartreuse with the blue back. They swear up and down right after the spawn, and they're hungry. That throwing this right here will kill them. That or any bluegill colored crankbait. This is a Strike King KVD Pro Series Model 4, I think it's called. That's 4 to 8 feet. I don't know if it's got a little noise to it, but they say post spawn, this color right here is just freaking killer because it'll mimic a bluegill. Or if you're in a lake, it's got a lot of shad now. The only lake we got close to us got that lot of shad in there is bluestone. I think they got the. Let me know, David, if I'm wrong or not, but I think they got the thread thin shad or the gizzard shad. Check out this bluegill crankbait right here. This is by Excite, I believe. If I can see it. Excite baits. This one dives 4 to 8 feet. This one will probably be a killer post spawn. And then it'll do some digging. Gizzard shad. So if you got anything that's got the gizzard shad color, I think is it the thread thin or the gizzard shad's got that light purple hue to it. Because if it's that light purple hue, I got a couple flat side square bills that could be very dangerous for that. This box is my miscellaneous box. This is another. If I can get them unhooked here. See that? This is another Strike King crankbait. This is called a Lucky Shad. This will be good in the springtime. This one dives down to, I think, close to 10 feet, actually, maybe 8. But it's called the Strike King Lucky Shad. They talked about this one a lot. And guys, so far, all these crankbaits I've showed you is come in the Monster Bass box. So think about what's going to come in your box each month. Name brand baits made for your waters. Or if you're down there in Bluestone, another shad. Hard to get that color to come up. Another shad style colored bait. And I don't know the name of this bait here, but it reminds me of a Rapala DT10. I don't know why that's making it want to look yellow, but trust me, guys, that is like a lime green. That almost looks like pale yellow. But I don't know the name of this. This came in a box. It wasn't Monster Bass box a year or so back, 2 years ago. And but it looks like one of those JDM baits, the Japanese baits. Hear that knock in that thing? So I'm kind of excited to try to throw this. This looks like a DD10, DD12. So it'll probably dive 10 to 12 feet. Depends on your setup you're using. But remember, the lighter line, the deeper you go. But I got enough crankbaits. I definitely don't need any more. Not that I know of. I'll tell you another bait that I don't throw very, I don't have a whole lot of confidence in that that's supposed to be a killer bait. Let me see if I can get to it. And I just don't know, but man, it's all you heard growing up. Rattle trap, rattle trap, rattle trap, lipless crankbaits. I mean, check out that bluegill killer thing. I'm pretty sure that's a rattle trap brand. Anybody any good with throwing these lipless crankbaits? Because if you are, I want to go with you. I want to learn how to fish them. I want to learn what line, weight, rod, and reel to use. Because I just don't. I mean, there's some pretty stuff here. This is a Quake 70 from 6 cents. Look at the back of that thing. I mean, if they're eating up some bluegill, this right here will be killer, but I just don't know. You never caught a fish on a rattle trap. See, I had when I was just real young, and I'll tell you where it was the weirdest place I caught it. I was out on a boat with Dad and Woody. Dad's deacon in his church. And I was just reeling along and didn't even know I hooked into anything. I had a little bass about that long. Hit a rattle trap. They say these colors here in the spring are awfully good. Now, I know that shows up like an orange, but that's more of a dark red. I don't know why that color showing up. Could be my lighting because I don't know how to do the lighting. But they say in the springtime that this is a killer, especially with the grass. And I hear about the grass in Bluestone when it ain't reached the top of the water yet is a deadly place to probably throw these and rip them out of the grass, them and swim jigs, catch something huge. But I bought them for, wanting to learn how to use them. I mean, I got these. I'm interested in what these cotton Cordell chrome one's going to look like on this camera. Look at that flash that thing's going to make. I mean, these are by Cotton Cordell. They don't weigh very much. And then here's one I think, if you could master it, it's got, you can't really tell, but it's got a black back with some blue hue to it and some gold on the bottom. But you see that spot right there on them? They say that fish key into that spot, and that's where they're going to bang them. So if that's true or not, I don't know. That's another. Now here's one. I don't know where this come from. If you can see that, it tied. Your line ties like a lipless, but it's got a bill on it, and it's like a little glide bait. So you never know what that thing might do in the water. Never know. But that's another type that I don't do well with. Hard baits in general. I love another one that I don't do real well with is jerk baits. I mean, I've caught a few, but it's another cold water bait. That may be why. But I've caught a few. I'm going to try to show you this one. This is the Monster Bass 110 called the Slick Stick. This is the version of the Mega Bass 110 that costs like $20 a piece. This one runs about 12, 13. But this is a Monster Bass exclusive. And this is solid red. But what this looks like at paint job on is where they've been hit so hard by a bass and that they just got like bloodshot or something. Now, John got one in his first box. It's in the baby bass color. And that is an exclusive color to a guy named, I think it's Zach Messer from Messer Baits, who paints baits. It's an exclusive patented color to Messer Baits. John got that color, so that was pretty cool. And I'll show you, I got a small style little jerk bait with that baby bass pattern. And I know with this lighting, it's terrible. But that's supposed to look green, baby green, like a baby bass. And I don't know why I'm getting certain colors. I just not getting it on there tonight. But that's that Messer design color that's only his. I got some Smithwick Rogues. That's all I heard when I was in Virginia in February. This guy's going out with these the Smithwick Rogues. These right here. And just in the cold water, and they were nailing monsters over there. And actually, yep, that's a Smithwick Rogue right there. And they were showing me pictures of bass they caught on the Rogues and that. And I said, well, how many of them Rogues you got? And he said, boxes full of them. Here's a kind of a new bait from 6 Sense called the Speed Wake. Now, wake bait goes across just right underneath the water and gives that wake, and it can be deadly over grass. But typically, if you fish these wake baits too fast, it'll blow them out, and they ain't doing anything. But this one here, it's called Speed Wake for a reason. I watched videos of these in a pond. You can fish them as fast as you want to, and I mean, they will cause a stir. So that's up in my jerkbait box for some reason. But I haven't had a whole lot of luck with jerkbaits. Hard baits in general like this, I love throwing the walking baits on top. Done pretty good with some spooks. And but I want to get better at that. So what that leads me up to telling you guys is that I'm a soft plastics guy. Texas rigging a worm, throwing a Cinco, doing it different ways, weightless, Texas rig Cinco, missile baits put out a bait called the 48. It's a Cinco style bait. The reason why it's called the 48, they got videos. You got time to watch it. 48 different ways to fish that bait, and it's called the 48. We mainly been fishing it in what they call a reverse shimmy rig, where the cool thing about what in the world is that noise? But the cool thing about it is that both ends are blunt. Oh, that's my gypsy girl snoring. But you put a nail weight on one end, and then you Texas rig it on the other end, so when it drops, it falls weight back first to the bottom, and then when you pick it up, it'll go right back to where it was. And we got a lot of bites this past summer on the reverse shimmy rig with the Missile 48. I've set that up for Billy Max to fish, and some of us, we just hadn't got a chance to go to a real good place to throw that thing. But I missed one out on the kayak on Tuckahoe Lake, and I think the reason why that is learning how to set the hook well while setting on a kayak. And I got to learn to stand up on my kayak, or get brave enough to stand up on, because it's wide enough. Billy Max did it like it was nothing. He's a little smaller in stature than I am, so that helped him some. But I just got to get my feet to where I don't feel like I'm gonna fall in the water. because I don't want to lose a lot of expensive baits and rods and reels and stuff. And but I think that's why I hooked into a bass over there. That and I think I had it on a spinning outfit. If I'd had it on my bait caster and rod, I believe I'd have got him in. But what it felt like was when it hit, and it was giving me, it's like I couldn't set the hook very well sitting in that kayak. And I'm sure there's techniques, and it takes a lot of practice, which means you got to be getting a lot of bites to get to practice. But I hooked into one that felt like would probably have been probably the nicest bass I'd hooked into since I moved back from Virginia. And that was back around 2009, 2010, I think. So that was a really good bite. But I just saw something come up on the. Oh, okay, cool. I'm just now checking out your message there, David. And you know what? I probably got. And speaking of what about trolling those Berkeley baits, I probably got some baits in my box that would be good for that. And I was thinking about that today when I was looking at some of those ones that dive 16 to 20 feet, 19 to 26 feet. If there was a way to keep them down there trolling, that would not be a bad bait probably to troll. I just don't know how you pull that off, but without using something to keep it down there. I guess that would be what they use a planer board for, maybe. I don't know, but I got some baits here that probably be good for that. Trolling, I don't know if I got the patience for it. That's probably different trolling like that for bass, but I watched them guys up on Watoga Lake just sitting there. I'd sit out there for like 3 hours and I'd watch them with Joe flies troll from one end to the other. And 15 to 20 feet. Well, a couple of these baits I got, if the bottoms ain't too bad, you could be banging off bottom and stuff. Maybe get a reaction bite from smallmouth too, instead of stripers. But so they've let the water down. The lipless crank bait is easy to fish, just gotta work it through the water. You know what? I throw at lipless in different ways, slow ways, and try to rip it out of grass like they talk about in the things, and I just don't get a lot of bites. But the water was probably warmer than what they're meant for, because they got that real tight wobble. It's a lot like a flat side square bill or like a Sprawl Little John crankbait. That flat side, and it's just a real tight wobble, and probably a pretty cool deal there. So I had to throw that more in the cooler water. But they say they'll catch them throughout the year. But say you want to catch that grass when it's like 2 foot below the surface, so you can reel through there and rip it out. Trolling can be boring. If I don't catch nothing in 2 hours, I go crappie fishing. I hear you. Speaking of trolling for crappie, I watched a guy in Virginia on that pond I used to fish. It was I hear you on the walleye destroying it if you got the right color. The guy in Virginia on the pond I used to fish, it was a 55-acre pond shaped in a horseshoe. There was only a few of us was allowed to fish it. And he had one of them V bottom boats that was V on both ends, like you see your fishing guides using, especially the fly fishing people. And he had these bamboo crappie rods that are about 10, 12 foot long, He must have had like 8 of them. He would have like 4 on each side, and he would troll for crappie. And there wasn't enough crappie in it. Like he'd do that once a week for about 3 or 4 weeks. He'd do it for about a month, and he said he'd have enough crappie fillets in his freezer to last him the rest of the year. But he had those, they were like 10, 12 foot long bamboo rods with little eyes, little tiny reels on the bottom of them, and he would troll. Some of them didn't have reels, but it would troll, and he would just slay those crappie. I saw a crappie caught out there to hit a jumbo minnow. I don't know how in the world he thought he was going to get that jumbo minnow in his mouth, because crappie mouth ain't that big. And when I talk about jumbo minnow, I'm talking, about that wide and about that long. That's what we use down there in February for largemouth. Throw them on a bobber. Of course, that bobber's flying around on the water, but when it would go, whoom, it was always at least a 4 pound or bigger bass on them things, using those big jumbo. I think they were thread thin shad. It was a lot of fun. I'd like to try it out here somewhere if we could find us a good farm pond, some big bass in it. That would be awesome. Finding shad that big, and keeping them alive till you got to your pond. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. And I remember back in the day when chatterbaits came out, and it was one of those as seen on TV baits. I ain't kidding you. And you bought them as a kit in Bass Pro Shops or ordered them off TV. And I got a kit, and it had the craziest. As a matter of fact, I like to find it. I still have some of the old trailers that come to put on them chatterbaits and skirts, and it was just crazy looking. But I'll never forget the vibration you felt off those things. That would have been back about 2000, I think. And they've been out for a little bit when I finally got me a kit of them. But I used to throw them out there when the water was cold. And I'd let them hit the bottom and pop them off the bottom like you would a blade bait type of deal, or a spoon, and then fall back down. And I would catch bass with them. As soon as that water got up around 65, 70 degrees, it wouldn't hit them after that. And of course, I didn't really know how to fish them. I mean, I'd reel them in straight to me or whatever. But I just thought it was one of those TV baits that me, being a sucker, bought. And I caught bass on them. And now look what chatterbait is today. Brent Chapman makes thousands and thousands of dollars a year on chatterbaits and flipping. Chatterbaits and flipping. That's how he wins his money. And he's an MLF pro sponsored by Cast King. And all his rods and reels are Cast King reels. He does like the Sunline Sniper fluorocarbon line and their braid. But he fishes with nothing but the and as a matter of fact, I own 1, 2, 3, maybe 3 reels and 2 of the rods that he uses in the tournament. And that tells you right there about affordable innovation for casting. Because if I'd have bought them in a normal retail store, I wouldn't own them. That's what I love about Cast King. Their rods and reels are comparable to everybody else. Speed Demon Pro rods were helped design by Brent Chapman and Al Norker, one of the most respected and top rod developers and reels in the world today. And Cliff Crochet designed a rod that fits him called the Sprawl Rod. It's a unique rod. It's a power rod. I have one, but it's got the the wraparound eyes that looks like how in the world that cast. Then the first eye has that microwave groove where it's got a small hole in it. It's got your regular eye, and then it's got another little eye in the middle that's smaller. It keeps any kind of loop. It's real accurate to cast. But when you load up on it with the bait, it seems like all those eyes line up. I don't understand the technology or how it works, but I've seen it. And I throw my swim jigs on that rod. I think I have the 7'4" medium heavy, if I'm correct. But it's a neat looking rod. John has seen it. And I have my Royale Legend Elite baitcaster 8-1-1 on it. And it was the pro reel of choice of Brent Chapman did before the Bassinator came out. So that was pretty neat. And I'll tell you something else that's neat. I don't know how many times that people have been along the banks at these pro tournaments right at when they go to take off, and they're close enough to see what they got in their boats and take pictures. And there'll be all these rods and reels. Let's check an example. Dowel rods and reels all the way across that, and then all of a sudden there's a Cast King reel, a Royale Elite sitting there, or a Bassinator that they've snuck on the boat. Probably hope their sponsors didn't see to have on there. And there's a reason for that. When the Bassinator first came out, AJ Gore, the host of Cast King Live, was in Knoxville, Tennessee. They have a big trade show there. And he was at the Cast King booth, and a pro came up to him and couldn't tell who it was, but he bought one of them Bassinator, so I'm going to try it out. And he came back 3 hours later fishing and bought 2 more of them. So he bought 3 of those Bassinators, and that's $179 a piece without all the retail costs. So you imagine if it's sitting in a glass case at your bait store or Bass Pro Shop, that's a $300 reel, more likely. And he bought 3 of them that day. Couldn't tell who it was, but it's a pretty cool deal. I mean, Cast King's got some good stuff. As a matter of fact, I bought a Christmas present for someone for a Cast King reel, and out of all the gifts I bought for people this year, that is my most impressive present that I bought. Got to get me one because I don't own one, but I got to get me one. And so, yeah, don't think as Cast King is just they're one of them e-commerce companies just rolling out crap, because they're not rolling out crap. Because I was an Abu Garcia Shimano guy, and you would have never got me away from those reels. I just never could own any good ones because they cost so daggone much. But I watched a YouTube video back after my double hernia surgery. It said, and I'll never forget it, it said Cast King Stealth, and I got a Stealth back here, versus the Black Max Pro model. I started laughing. Who in their right mind would have the balls, and excuse my language, but have the cojones to compare their reel to a Black Max Pro model reel like $100 to $120 bait caster? And when I watched that video and they broke it down piece by piece, part by part, brakes, gears, all that stuff, and then the different ways of casting it and all that stuff, I was like, whoa. Had to watch the video again, and I actually watched it 3 or 4 times. So I started watching more Cast King videos, and all of a sudden here they come up, they're live at the Bassmaster Classic. What? You just don't say, hey, I want to set a booth at the Bassmaster Classic. You got to be invited. And then all of a sudden here come a guy, I can't remember his name at the time, that was a pro that was sponsored by Cast King, fishing in the Bassmaster Elite Series. It's a pretty big series. It's right at the top with MLF and a lot of others. But I was impressed that he was using all casting gear to make a living with. And he was using the Casking Stealth, the Assassin at the time, and the Speed Demon Pro bait casting reel, and the Sharky 3s, and was making a check, put food on the table with casting products. So, gotta try them out. They're affordable. I'm telling you, that's the reason why I can have them, because I can honestly tell you that if I got $1,000 in fishing rods, which I do, I ain't gonna lie, that's been over a few years, but if I got $1,000 in fishing rod and reels, if I'd have bought them other brands comparable to that, I'd have had $3,000 or more. Now, compared to what the elites have made just for them, it'd be $10,000. I ain't kidding you. Them guys, bass rods that they're using, that these companies make, especially for them, designed the way they want it, $600-700 for one rod. And you can get the Cast King Quality Tournament Speed Demon Pro Rod or Cast King Sprawl Rod designed by pros. They put their name on it. They tell everybody, hey, I that's my design. You can get it for from 109 to 119 a piece. And they're out there making good money fishing against the likes of Kevin Van Dam, Greg Hackney, and those guys, and hanging right with them using all casting products. So trust me, they're good items. So, but anyway, I think we're going to get off here. We've been on quite a while, a few bumps in the roads, but I want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas. If I don't see you for Christmas, y'all have a Merry Christmas. I go on vacation the day after Christmas, and my plan is, if it's going to be very cold, my plan is to be in the woods with my crossbow till the following Thursday, and then doe season opens back up. So I'm trying to fill some tags. So I'm hoping to be in the woods every day. And Billy, I'll let you know if that can happen for you too. So I'm not sure yet. It's been crazy. Trust me, it's been crazy. But anyway, guys, y'all have a great evening. I hope everybody's safe. I know a lot of people don't like to wear the mask, but please wear the mask, because I hear you, David. That's exactly why I need to go. I need meat too. So we might have to hook up those days. But please be safe. Wear the mask. I think it's what saved me last week, because I got spared when I didn't think I was going to be. And a lot of sleepless nights this past week. So wear the mask. And I know that mask is hard to wear sometimes, and some people have some trouble with asthma and things like that. But if you're indoors with folks, and if you have been within 6 feet of someone for 15 minutes or more, that's considered close contact. I just learned a lot of this. I had a all right, John, appreciate it. I holler at you too. I just had an online class on Friday, more about COVID. And now if you get contact tracing, instead of 14 days quarantine, it's 10. If you caught COVID, contracted it, it's 10 days with mild symptoms or just being symptomatic. I was afraid I was asymptomatic, because I know someone who caught it, and They don't have no symptoms at all still. So that's a good thing for them because it probably didn't come around. And they come off of it this coming Thursday, be allowed back in the world. But it was nasty this past week, and this county's got nasty. So just be careful. Do wear the mask if you're within 6 feet of someone. You never know when they're going to cough or sneeze all of a sudden or whatever it may be. And because that stuff can get in your eyes, that's a way to get it into your system. Uh, hit you in the mouth. If you have a scratch or something on your hand, it's just not worth it. So, all right, everybody, have a great night. Merry Christmas. We will talk to you next Sunday. I'm excited about right after the first of the year. We're going to hopefully bring on Max Basson from Instagram and Monster Bass, the 13-year-old phenom, as I call him. So that ought to be a lot of fun. So we'll be hollering at you again this Sunday. If the Lord's willing, the waters don't rise and don't snow to the top of the hill. So anyway, appreciate y'all for coming on tonight. Have a great night.